Last week at Rolling Loud, DaBaby had some questionable things to say during his performance, and everyone responded, I feel, accordingly. So, welcome to the Bar for Bar podcast, and this week we're going to talk about DaProblem with DaBaby. I'm sorry, that was gross. Anyways, so, during his performance, which I kind of talked about a little bit last week, but it was really just the fact that he got a shoe thrown at him. I didn't really hear everything else until later on. But basically, he was, in his words, trying to basically lead up to a song where, appropriate, no. What he said was, if you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexual transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2 or 3 weeks, put your cell phone light up. Ladies, if your pussy smell like water, put your cell phone light up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone light up. I'm pretty sure most reasonable people will understand what the issue is there. Well, there's a few issues, I guess, but the main thing that a lot of people really grabbed onto was like, yo, why are you calling out people with HIV and AIDS and guys who are sucking dick in the parking lot? You're basically very focused, like you're focusing in very hard on the gay community, because the stereotype is that gay people are the only ones with HIV and AIDS. That is not the case. Anyone can get it. It's also kind of prevalent in the black community, so you're also attacking the black community to an extent. So, there's two things that are fucked up there. Now, this isn't the first time that I've talked about hip hop it just being very, I guess, homophobic. But it's kind of annoying and just disappointing, I guess, more so, because you have someone like DaBaby who is a really popular artist. I'm not a fan of him in general, but that's just me. He's well known, he's popular, and then he says these things, and it's like, a lot of people are, justifiably saying no, that's not appropriate, and canceling him. But then also, well, I was going to say that some people may be surprised, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I honestly wasn't surprised that he said these things, because I just think he's a terrible person. I don't like him as a person in general before all this. Why are you just fighting people for no good reason? That was an issue that I talked about a while ago. You need to slow your roll. You are too big of an artist to be just getting into street fights like this with random people that have nothing to do with you. So, he has other things about him that I wasn't really a fan of, to say the least. So, this just kind of pushes that further. Now, I was talking about this yesterday with my girlfriend, and it's he could have been fine with just saying it and then apologizing appropriately, just saying yo, my bad, I didn't mean to say all that, it was unnecessary. But then he basically doubled down on it on IG, where he's like, nah, y'all taking this, well, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was basically saying nah, you guys are overreacting, and this is just kind of a lead up to my song, that's the song that everyone knows. I don't know what song that is, but he made it seem like we were the ones that were wrong. What are you talking about, DaBaby? This is not no, that's not how that works. We are not in the wrong here. I think the general public understands that what you said is not appropriate. So following that, over the past week, I guess, he's just been getting slowly removed from different festivals and different, I guess, big performances. Are they still festivals if they're only one day? I guess, right? But yeah, just festivals in general. So I forgot which one he got removed from first, but that one kind of kicked everything off. Like he, what was it? Basically, what had happened was that festival didn't make a big deal about it. They just kind of, slowly pushed him aside, and they're like, "Okay, goodbye. We're not, we're not gonna make a big deal about this. We're just doing it," which I thought was very appropriate and very well done. I'm still trying to see if I can find it, but it's, you don't need to make a big deal about removing him, because that's something that if you feel is appropriate, go for it. Like, that's the whole, like, it kind of touches on, like, if you're doing good, like, do you really need to make a big deal about it and make a video about it? Like, all those people on, I don't know if they do it as much anymore, but like the people online who just make videos about, oh, look at all this charity I'm doing, look at how good of a person I am, like, just to get views. Like, you ain't got to do that. But regardless, I mean, I like how they did it, but I also like that other people are removing him because they're standing by the communities that he's affected. But yeah, moving on, he got removed from Summer of Seoul, I believe it was, the festival headed by Questlove. And that one was the funniest one to me, because that was the first one that DaBaby really responded to. And he was like, "Yo, I don't even know who Questlove is," which is like, you know who Questlove is. You literally performed with him, like, recently. So what are you on about? So, it's like, come on now. You know who he is. You're just trying to play it off like it's not a big deal. And then, he just kept getting removed from other shows. Yesterday, like Lollapalooza was happening over the weekend. He got removed from his, like, his performance got canceled the day of his performance, and I think he got replaced by G Herbo, if I'm not mistaken, or like they moved some stuff around. But the point is that they removed him hours before his set, which, impressive. I'm glad they did that, but it's also like, as time goes on, it's like, damn, are people doing this in solidarity, or are they doing it just so that they can look good? I'm hoping for the best. I'm just assuming that they're doing it out of the goodness in their hearts, because it's kind of messed up if you're trying to just get more attention to yourselves. Anyways, following that, he got removed from the governor's ball. Let's see. Lollapalooza's line up until the festival. That was the one I just read. But yeah, he just got removed from the governor's ball. Where did it say it? Yeah, it says, Founders Entertainment does not and will not tolerate hate and discrimination of any kind. We welcome and celebrate diverse communities that make New York City the greatest city in the world. Thank you to all the fans who continue to speak up for what is right. Along with you, we will continue to use our platform for good. So, that kind of makes it sound like they're, like, so, I think the biggest problem that, like, he could have done, like, the thing that he could have done to basically avoid all this and make things better, in a way, is he could have just apologized up front and then, let his PR handle everything. But the fact that he went in and basically doubled down on it on IG, and then he put out a song, apparently, which I didn't even know, because, I don't pay attention to DaBaby like that. Where did he go? But yeah, like, he had put out a song, which, interesting choice. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, like, so, I mean, I didn't watch it. I'm just reading, like, what people are talking about it. So the track was giving what it's supposed to give. basically the video ended with a message saying, "My apologies for being me the same way you want the freedom to be you." So now that's like the same sort of thing where like people who are racist when they get caught for being racist, they're like, "Oh man, that's just me, and if you don't like me for being me, I'm sorry." Or like, "Man, I'm just doing me, like you're doing you." Like, no, you're actively trying to put down a community, and that's not what other people do. Like, decent people don't do that. But yeah, like him making that video is just like basically further standing by, like, yeah, no, this is appropriate. But yeah, that was annoying. Outside of that, other artists have obviously talked about it. Most notably for him, I would say Dua Lipa. Like, you have such a big song, and the artist that you collaborated with was like, "Oh, no, you can't say those things. Like, what is wrong with you?" Again, this is not exactly what she said because I didn't want to look up the quote right now. But, it's like you have someone who's arguably much bigger than you in terms of popularity, like saying that this is not okay behavior and that they don't support it. Like, okay, you might have fucked up a little bit. But yeah, there was other artists that said things, obviously, like Questlove. The more funny one to me was Kevin Abstract. What do you say? He had like a string of tweets. This was on the day before their performance at Lollapalooza, because Brockhampton was going to play the same day as DaBaby. Excuse me. So the tweets were like, "Wow, Brockhampton and DaBaby really play the same day on the same stage tomorrow." Next tweet, "Heath Ledger with some dreads, I just gave my dude head, wow." And then, "Just sucked a huge dick in the parking lot." And then later on, I think yesterday, because this was on the 31st, he's like, "All right, he finally came, now I'm back." Like, it's just, it's funny because it's like a response to it, but it's also like, like just making fun of him. So this kind of also goes into the whole idea that like hip hop is very homophobic. I don't know when that's gonna change, honestly, because hip hop is very young, and aside from that, it's like you have to also take into consideration the general public. There's a lot of anti-gay and just homophobic people in general. So it's unfortunately like the community, like we just kind of gotta wait. Like time has to pass, and it's a very slow burn. Like we can do what we're doing right now and like draw attention to these things and call people out and hold them accountable, which is something that we absolutely should do. But it's like we can't also expect things to change overnight, and I don't think anyone does. But it's gonna be a long time before it's like just something that we don't do anymore. Like we're not gonna say these things. We're not gonna be homophobic. Like it's gonna take a while for these things to change, especially in hip hop, because that is so rooted in hip hop, unfortunately. And it has been changing, that's for sure. Like we have major artists who are openly gay. I mean, look at Lil Nas X. But again, like also look at Lil Nas X. He's getting so much hate because he's so open about it. And it's like, but bro, these are the same songs that guys have been making about girls and girls have been making about guys. Like, why can't I make a song about guys in the same way? Like, it's just it's so confusing to me. But like I said, it's going to take some time before we really see any sort of change in that. It's just, unfortunate for sure. But yeah, I don't really care about DaBaby in general, so I'm glad that people who do enjoy his music are holding him accountable, because who else will? I saw academics go on Twitter earlier today talking about how like cancel culture is getting a bit crazy. There's times where it's appropriate. This is one of those times. I understand that, yes, cancel culture can be a bit much sometimes, but in situations like this, it is, I'm going to say, necessary, because I think he was saying like something like, he apologized, why don't you just leave him alone? Like, he didn't apologize, really. Like, really, he didn't. Actually, DaBaby did tweet something, so let me pull that up real quick. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I wanted. There. So his, I guess, apology tweet said, anybody who done ever affected by AIDS/HIV, y'all got the right to be upset. What I said was insensitive, even though I have no intentions on offending anybody. So my apologies. But the LGBT community, I ain't tripping on y'all. Do you? Y'all business is y'all business. Huh? Like, okay. So he apologized to the HIV and AIDS community, or people who've been affected by it, because that was insensitive. Cool. Him not having intentions on offending anybody was immediately debunked by him saying the next thing. But it's like, what do you mean you ain't tripping on them? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean DaBaby? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, that's not an apology to them in any way. Like, honestly. Like, you're basically just saying, like, you're apologizing to the people with HIV and AIDS and other diseases that you have offended, but you're not apologizing to the other people you've offended. Like, what you said there was totally justifiable. Like, no, that's not the case at all. So, there was that. But, you know, we'll still, I guess, see how things go. I think at this point, like, oh yeah, I think also Chris Brown responded and is like, if Chris Brown's responding, there's something wrong. Or Chris Brown is the voice of reason. Like, you fucked up. It was also really interesting that everyone online was also like, because T.I. and Boosie Badass came in support of DaBaby, and everyone online's like, yeah, you really fucked up if T.I. and Boosie are coming to your help. Like, yeah. I don't need to elaborate too much on that, I'm sure. But anyways, that's all I got regarding that. There was a few other things that happened over the last week that is notable, aside from that. So let's go through. Oh yeah, so you know the WuTang album, the one that there's only one of in existence, and was bought by Martin Shkreli. The US sold it. Don't know who they sold it to. That wasn't revealed, but they sold it. Yeah, that was just interesting. Like, okay, cool. Why? Where'd it go? Then we also got an announcement that King's Disease 2 will be coming out on the 6th, so this Friday. I'm excited. I joked about it online being like, oh, what if this is a deluxe album? To which one of the engineers responded, he's like, it ain't though. So that's exciting. King's Disease was a good album. Like, I had a whole podcast episode about it where I was like, I would have preferred Alfredo, and everyone thought I was saying that King's Disease was bad. No, King's Disease was good. But I just didn't enjoy it as much as the other albums. But if that one is to go. If what am I trying to say? If that one is like an example of what we're getting, like I'm sure this one's gonna be good. Where is it? Yeah, so also the street, there was a street in Long Beach. Long Beach? Isn't it Long Island? Oh, no, it's Long Beach. Okay. In Long Beach, New York, that was renamed to KMD MF Doom Way, which was really awesome. Because this was named after him because this was a street that he grew up on. And, it's just a big deal. Like, I'm very happy that we're able to remember him in this way. It's also kind of ironic because he wasn't allowed back in the US and we're naming a street after him, but that's okay. Yeah. Damn, speaking of which, sorry if you've been waiting for Book of Doom. I've just been honestly busy to the point where I can't really plan that sort of video. So it's taking a little bit longer than usual. So sorry. It is still a thing. I'm just backed up is all. And the other I guess major news from the last week is that August 11th will now be recognized as Hip Hop Celebration Day. So if you aren't aware, that is the day that we all consider hip hop to be born. That was the day that Kool Herc had his back to school jam, I think it was called. That was his back to school party. So that's awesome. I think I heard something about this happening a while ago too, but I'm glad that it's official now. Because for me, I was kind of upset last year when the birthday of hip hop passed and very few people on hip hop Twitter said anything about it, which to me was like, all right, now you are so like you're basically profiting off of this community. Well, you are trying to in some way, but you're not going to talk about where it came from. So, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but then I remember like not everyone really pays attention to what day it is and stuff like that, so I got over it, but I still feel like they should show some sort of support for that. But regardless, I am glad that they are at this point where they're celebrating hip hop. And the fact that we actually have like an actual day to like that we know, I guess, like this is where it started. Like that's unique, I feel. 'Cause, I mean, I don't know how I guess if we're able to really tell that in other genres, at least the older genres, like, I mean, anything that came out in recent years, like, I guess we can probably figure out more. But, like, I'm talking about blues, jazz, rock. Like, do we actually have, like, an exact date where we know that's when they started? Like, I don't think that's really the case. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is something unique to hip-hop, which is awesome to me. But yeah, so that was cool. Let's see. There was some other there was music that dropped, but I don't know why I didn't pull it up on here. But the album that I've been waiting for 5 years, Isaiah Rashad's "The Sun Is Burning," finally out. I like it. I'm obviously going to review it, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But it was basically what I expected. I do agree with a lot of people's comments about it being, like Zay being a little bit more in the beat. So like you can't really hear his vocals as much. And whenever there is a featured artist, like they are the focus rather than him. But at least with those, the featured artist bit, that was intentional from what I've read. Like, it's almost like he made that song in mind, or with that person in mind, and wanted them to basically be the artist for that song. So that makes sense, and I'm honestly okay with it. Like those songs were good. But the fact that his vocals were mixed just at the same point as the beat a lot of the time kind of makes it hard for me to hear what he's saying. Because like when I first listened to it, I just had it on headphones very quietly because I wasn't supposed to be listening to music at the time. But you know, like I was like, I'm only really hearing the production. I don't know what he's saying. And then, I mean, when I'm driving in the car, I can hear it a little bit better because if I'm driving alone, I can turn it up a little more. But then yesterday when I was driving around, like, I mean, I didn't want to have it too loud. So it was like a little bit lower. I'm like, damn, same thing. I can only really hear the beat, and some choruses and stuff like that. So, I mean, not a huge deal, but you know, it was definitely something of note for me. But overall, such a good album. But also, it could just be because I've been waiting for it for so long, and I'm just happy it's here. Other than that, Dave East and Harry Fraud dropped off, I believe it was. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to that. I do intend on reviewing it, but that entirely depends on when I get the chance to listen to it, honestly. Because I'm really just going to be listening to Isaiah Rashad's album until I review it. And then the fact that we have a pretty decent lineup of music coming out this week, it's going to be a little bit interesting. Because we're supposed to be getting Donda this week. And then King's Disease 2, and supposedly we're getting Drake's album. At least that's the rumors, but we'll see. One last thing to touch on before I wrap things up. If you are subscribed to the channel and watch the other videos, like my breakdowns and stuff, you may know that I don't always go super in depth into things. That's intentional. So, I mentioned this on Twitter, but this is a secret that I'm letting y'all know. The reason I don't go into depth on every little bit is because, you know, that makes y'all say stuff in the comments. And that helps with audience engagement and actually builds the community that I've been trying to work on. I mean, if I straight up don't know what the artist is saying, I mention it. Like, I'll say, like, I have no idea what they're saying here, or I don't know, or let me know what they're saying. If it's something that I feel like I can understand, I'm just like, I'll skip over this. Or if it's not as interesting to mention, I'll just skip over it and assume that you guys will hop in the comments. So just keep that in mind. But also those are just comments from people who aren't like here for a while. They're just catching the videos recently. Anyways, that's all I got. Let me know in the comments below what you think of DaBaby's comments, because I feel like we all are on the same page. Also, like and subscribe if you want to see more content and podcasts like this where I just ramble on for 30 minutes. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.